Hey guys, it's Stuart, and I'm back for some more some more Banished. I just had to take a quick break and look up some things. What I was curious about, right, was if we go to our markets and trade and such, if putting down a trading post but not actually building it would let us qualify for the achievement. And it turns out that absolutely it does work. So I'm going to go ahead and put one in, and then I'm going to quickly just pause construction. They're never going to put anything into it, but it'll be held in place so, we know where we can build and we can kind of design our town around it. I really wish that stupid house wasn't there. I kind of want flush. We're just gonna live with the house being there. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. I need a house for the woodcutter anyway. So yeah, we'll deal with it. Now what I want is basically there are like a couple of buildings that are going to be centered around the idea of this being a little kind of import-export zone. We definitely want to put a marketplace somewhere around here. I'm actually going to let it play so they can finish clearing out this road. We also want actually a big stockpile and another storage barn. I know it seems like we have an awful lot in the area. Trust me, you're going to want even more. So we're going to need to get that, and maybe like a line of houses. Actually, let's go ahead and start putting some in. These houses are going to be for some of the crafters that we're going to be putting in. We're going to have a blacksmith, a tailor, and just, it's kind of useful to go ahead and put those in right now, since we also are going to need houses. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, I'm also going to collect the stone. It's kind of a big area to collect from, but we're going to need a lot of it coming up. Because we have a lot of buildings kind of planned. So I'm also going to scoop some iron while I'm at it. And since, we have a relatively large amount of laborers for this early in the game, I think it's worth having them go after some kind of a task. So that should be good. And we're fishing village. It's developing pretty nicely. Little fishing hole, I guess. Not so much a village. And we'll be putting this in pretty soon as well. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, might as well clear out any stone and any iron in that area as well. Just to have it ready for when we have a forester go in. So, but so far it's looking pretty good. Like, I'm liking the way this node is set up. Clearly, you can see all the little trees that are getting planted. And they're also harvesting the older trees. But if we look here, our stockpile situation isn't the best. We're running pretty short. In addition to that, we're going to want a big stockpile kind of in the vicinity of the trading post anyway. So I'm going to throw in like a fairly large one. Probably, I don't know, maybe even a 10 by 10 or a 9 by 9. We'll go in 9 by 9, like a really big stockpile. Now, while I'm thinking about it, where do we want our market? Let's pause a sec. I might actually want the market there and put the stockpile, say, just shift it over here. Well, let me see how it lines up real quick. So, market. I was kind of thinking somewhere around, yeah, that stockpile can't really go there, can it? Because we want buildings there. Oh well, no real problem. Actually, since there's nothing on it, it'll get removed immediately. We do want a stockpile kind of near the trading post. Well, let me see. Well, let's plan out the market and kind of the area around it. So, with that stockpile there and all this iron that's stored up, it might be a good idea. We're going to put in our blacksmith, because if we don't get that put in, it's going to be a whole issue. I mean, we're already running low on tools again. And if we just let it keep running in this general direction, it's going to be kind of bad. Now, I'm thinking that might be a good way to place it. because he's basically going to be heading to either this stockpile. We might put another stockpile here, kind of relatively close to the blacksmith, but he's going to want to go to the market. And if we have a road here and the market there, oh gosh, do we want to keep this storage or not? See, the cart's just so inconveniently placed. I really wish, it's a cart, right? You'd think you'd be able to just kind of pick it up and move it, but it's a permanent structure. I don't know, it is kind of like a fun little landmark. Having a think. Oh, we kind of do want the market, like, around there. These markets, it's tricky when there's not much room around your initial start to really come up with a good spot for this. Honestly, I think I'll put the market there. It's a little kind of far from the trading post, but not so far that it's going to be the end of the universe. And yeah. Oh, that corner is a little bit of a problem. It's not a huge problem. This might be how I place it. I still need to wait though for those to get cleared out. So let's yeah, I'm gonna put it there. It's considering like the way our start is. I think that's probably the most convenient place to put our first market in. Another nice reason for the main reason actually why I queued up the trading post but didn't actually build it is there's an achievement. Here, I'll pull it up real quick. It's to, let's see. Keep going. I'll find it in a second. Immigrants. So allow 200 nomads into a single town. That will actually take a bit of time to rack up that many nomads. So I kind of want to start on that a little bit early, and there are a few conditions that you need for nomads to appear. Essentially, 2 buildings have to exist. The first is a trading post, and the second is a town hall. Now, the interesting thing about it is you can build, basically if you build the town hall, but you don't build the trading post, you just have it kind of queued like this, then it will actually work. So we can start getting nomads arriving even though we don't have a trading post set up. So it'll let us get that built earlier, and not to mention the fact with the nomads, they it just will boost our population. Our population will grow faster. Oh, I don't like that corner at all. Well, this is how we're gonna play. Oh no, the cart's there. I know I'm being weird about this cart. I should just tear it down, because it really is kind of an inconvenient location. If only the hill wasn't there. Do we kill the cart? Because it is, it is. It's kind of like our first building. I don't know. If we remove those and kind of think about, give this a little think. I'm gonna have to pause it too. I'm sorry for being like so kind of weird about it, but it's like it really does matter. Like, and I don't want it to be like too ugly looking. I want it to be like a really nice, well planned little town. Right now, just figuring out how to fit the market in an ideal location is a little bit tricky. What if we did this? Go to resource production. We'll build our blacksmith, and well, actually, I'm facing this way, and that way they have a conveniently located storage. And then we'll build a house here. Just kind of me brainstorming. One aspect of this game too is just kind of figuring out how to fit different bits and bops together. Actually, you know what we can do? There's another building that we kind of want to get soon, and that's, I believe, the tailor. will actually, yeah, it's the same like length as, so we get a nice square. Let's do that. We'll put a tailor in, and then have the houses for the tailor and blacksmith kind of here, or maybe here. Yeah, and then what we can do, so, well, let's get the roads set up. Get the roads, and just stretch the roads down like that, and then have the market kind of around here. I think that'll be a good setup. Let's go and put the market in. Well, we do need storage. I think I might put the stockpile here and then have the storage perhaps like that. That lines up pretty well. I don't know, maybe. We'll think about that. I want the storage kind of near this trading post because essentially what will happen is like you want them to just be able to walk from the trading post to here and then back again without being too inconvenienced. We also kind of want to put in maybe another home or two in this general direction. Maybe up here. Yeah, let's do that. One there, and we'll rotate this around a bit. Now, I'm not really, I'm playing this more for efficiency than for style. Because I'm definitely going to jump into playing some Colonial Charter at some point. It's a really good mod for this game. You should definitely check it out. And when I... Oh, the cart. I guess we'll have to reverse these. And this is an aspect of the game, right? Just lining stuff up and testing out different combinations of buildings, trying to get everything to fit into one area. So if we do that, I mean the cart is kind of inconvenient, but you know what? I'm determined at this point. I want to keep that cart around, so we will. Now while I have this down here, let's just go ahead and kind of complete the roads around it, just to be convenient. And I'm gonna add in a couple of houses. I kind of want, I do need storage. I might just put the homes out of the cart. Seriously, it's such an inconvenient location. Oh well, we're keeping it. I mean, it'd be like tearing down, I don't know, the Lincoln Memorial or something of that nature, you know. It's established. The Historical Society will not allow us to tear that thing down. So, once upon a time I lived out in Charleston, like ages ago, and well, I suppose not ages ago, but anyway, Charleston has this whole issue, right, where for some reason the Historical Society or whatever out there is extremely powerful. And they prevented all these buildings. You know, it's like if General Lee, like Robert E. Lee, like stopped in a building just to take a leak, like that building is prevented from getting torn down by the Historical Society. And so as a result, like downtown Charleston is just a mess. Like you'll go around and it's like all these derelict buildings, like held up by stilts. They look like they want to tumble over. They should have been torn down ages ago, but it just isn't happening because, you know, something historical happened there 200 years ago, and it's just really inconvenient for everybody living there because you have to. I mean, housing prices are ridiculous. It's pretty terrible. Like, and it's all just because of this, like, I guess, desire to maintain historical accuracy or ties or whatever. It just, I don't know. It's frustrating though. I mean, if you're living out there, I feel for you because it's like you have to deal with all the inconvenience of like what should be a really good property to live near, or to develop into something that you just won't have access to. So it's yeah, it's an issue, and who knows? Maybe going forward in time they'll ease up on what they let people preserve and what they decide can be torn down. I don't know. It's kind of bizarre though. Like he'll be walking around the street and wonder why on earth are they keeping up a building that is clearly falling to pieces at all. And like honestly, like I checked some of these structures and like they are. It's stuff like, oh, this is where such and such a delegate lived when the Confederacy, when South Carolina seceded from the Union. It's like, who cares? I mean, honestly, get over it. You lost the war, and honestly, the Civil War was going to happen largely because, I don't know. I'm not gonna go too much into detail on the Civil War. Just know, like, I think it was one of those cases where, the tides of history were pushing people towards conflict, and I'm honestly quite glad that we no longer live in a system where slavery is an acceptable thing. And I know the Civil War was about more than just slavery. There's a lot of reasons for the push towards the war, but if you say that it was about history, but like if you say it wasn't about slavery, but like about states' rights and stuff, slavery was definitely a major issue. Anyway, I don't know why I'm debating like history. Well, it's because we're playing a pretty historical game. It's got me in a mood to talk about that kind of stuff. All right, folks. Sorry for the hard cut there. Yeah, a bunch of noises going on in the background. Anyway, yeah, we're back, and I'm still building up this our little our little colony, or it's not really a colony. It's more like a village, I suppose. And it's coming along pretty nicely. We have a new little stockpile here. That should be. I kind of think it should be bigger than that, but because of the cart and just fitting it in, like I think we're gonna have to go with like just use both these. But yeah, it's coming along. There's several buildings that I kind of want out of the cart. I don't know. I might end up flipping a coin to decide if we keep it or not. But thinking ahead, we're gonna want a tavern. It's kind of funny. So happiness are like two. Well, there are a couple of buildings that help it. The tavern helps it a lot. The church helps it a little bit. I wonder if that's like a statement that Luke was trying to make. But the tavern it's a very good building for boosting the happiness of everyone around. Because what it does is obviously it produces booze, and people want booze. They need that sweet taste on their tongue. Kids, if you're underage, please don't go out drinking. Anyway, I want that kind of close to the market because whoever's boozing it up is going to have to go and pick up whatever they're brewing from the market. But I put it closer, but we got this inconvenient little storage cart here. I'm thinking in this area, I don't think we can fit any homes. Yeah, it's a little. It's just an awkward size, isn't it? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have like a road going from the cart to here and around the tavern. And then in here, I'm going to put a couple of wells, I guess. Like you never really need to put more than one well near something, but if we're going for this achievement anyway, actually, I think I'm just going to put one well and kind of place it in a way that looks kind of stylish. Maybe like up next to the cart. I have a little green space here. It's not ideal, but sometimes you have to kind of accept like there's going to be little patches of unworked land, and since we're on a large map, I mean it's not that big of an issue. So anyway, the wells are just under the town services here, and yeah, we'll put it like there, kind of lined up with a cart. That's not terrible. And just to complete it, we'll put little roads around it so it's faster to get to. And yeah, that little green space, it's kind of a waste, but what can you do? Sometimes you have to accept. And unless I tore out that cart, then I could probably fit a house in there, but it's not the end of the universe. I mean, we can just have a little bit of green. Why not? I'm also going to pause the tavern. Taverns, you can actually... Let's see if we have any. Yeah, you see these berries? The berries there can actually be brewed by the tavern. So if you're hoping to like get some gin, like I assume those berries are meant to be like juniper berries, and that's the whole idea. Like you're brewing juniper berries to get a gin. That's my take. Like, it just says alcohol. It doesn't like actually define what kind of alcohol it is. So, you know, we'll never really know. We can just kind of like take a guess and say, oh, berries, alcohol, it must be juniper, which means it's gin. But yeah, you can actually get alcohol going pretty early in the game, based off these berries. I wouldn't recommend it. It's actually very inefficient, the conversion. Like the best conversion comes from wheat. Not only can you get a ton of extra wheat, but I believe it's like 3 wheat gets you an alcohol. I'm not sure. That number is probably way off. But with berries, it's really bad. Like you need like I think 15 berries to brew up one thing of alcohol. And you know, the berries are just, especially this early in the game, when happiness is, I mean, our happiness is just fine anyway. I don't think it's really worth brewing them. But, you know, if you really are eager to get some alcohol, then by all means. The other thing to keep in mind is don't trade alcohol. Some people swear by it because they don't really look at the numbers. We'll get more into what is a good trade and what isn't in the future, but because like the brewing the alcohol like costs so much in food, like it's actually more it's a better ratio. Instead of trading a barrel of alcohol, you're better off trading, say, a big pile of wheat. So that's something to keep in mind. Alcohol is best spent on your own people to boost up their happiness. But I mean, happiness, I never feel like it's a huge issue. It's just something that's there. I actually have a feeling it was meant to be more, but they never. Luke never got around to really just making the happiness a more key part of the game. Because there are buildings for it that do stuff, but honestly, they aren't. Yeah, I never feel like I'm really hurting for happiness, and it never seems to like really affect stuff. Now I'm gonna actually let them build the market, because it's a very important building. It's something that it's worth kind of prioritizing because it'll start to centralize all these outlying villages. Essentially, like vendors will go and start picking up these goods and bringing them back to the central market, and so this stockpile will not be as full. That firewood will get picked up and moved to a more convenient location. It's definitely worth going ahead and doing that. So, it does mean that all this rock that we're collecting is basically going to go into that market. One thing about it, though, I do want to prioritize these two buildings because we're going to need coats soon. I think we're honestly going to need them. Yeah, we're going to need them by like next winter. We also need to get that blacksmith back because, oh, I closed there. We also need to get that blacksmith back ASAP because we're already back down to 7 tools. So I'm going to just, you know, keep talking while these guys do their business. So I've been thinking, like, how do we expand from here? Because we definitely, if we're going to need more people, I mean, obviously getting more buildings is a good idea, but what will be the next big step? Now, in a normal game, the next big step would be getting a whole bunch of firewood, storing it in trading posts, and then trading for, say, seeds so we can get farms going, or, well, yeah, basically, you would start to think about maybe getting some farmland, because this is a pretty established town. Since we're not doing a normal game and we're going for those achievements, we're going to have to build our population in other ways. And I'm thinking one of those is like, we definitely want to get some more forest nodes going on. We also, though, need to think about maybe a second kind of little village, because what's going to happen is, as we get these forest nodes further and further away from the main town, essentially the problem is guys living way out in the forest nodes, they need food, they need firewood, but they can get all their food just from what the gatherer's picking up, because they'll go near the nearest storage. But they won't really be able to get their firewood, their tools, their clothing, and you know, that stuff doesn't come up too often, but when it does, it's gonna just be, it will cut into our efficiency. So I'm kind of thinking what we want is to sort of get like a second little starter village going on somewhere. I mean, we don't want it right next to the main village, but we do want it in an area that can feed more of these little forest nodes around it. I'm kind of thinking a good area to push for would be down here, because we should be able to fit in some pretty good fishing villages just around the lake here, especially that little peninsula. It's, and over here even, like, say, there. And I think that we might not be able to build there, but, you know, that might be a direction we take it in, though, is trying to start, like, a second little market hub kind of around this area. Another thing we could think about, our population is not ready for it quite yet, but if we could get maybe a quarry and a mine going, not immediately, but soon-ish. We need more people, and we need more sources of food, but it is something we're going to need. Definitely going to want it. So I'm thinking, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this forest node. I'm going to add like all the buildings we want to add to it and actually get this started building. And kind of think about logistics-wise how we're going to start connecting this up with this area, because this is going to be some really good fishing off of this pier, and you know, and maybe even off of here or something, and it'll also give us an opportunity to build maybe a very long bridge connecting these two to unlock the bridge achievement. So it's something I want to push for, maybe not immediately, but definitely in the short, like in the middle, the middle, in the you know, in the near term. So I'm just gonna kind of let the laborers build up a bit, let some of these kids grow up and start having kids of their own, and get some of these other buildings finished. And I'll start planning this out too, and that'll probably be the end of this episode. But yeah. I think this is a really solid start, and honestly, like, the next little bit of this is just going to be slowly adding extra forest nodes, getting more gatherers working. It's, I don't know, it's not going to be, like, super exciting, but it's just kind of like, sometimes in Banished, you just sort of have to gradually grow. And we're at the point now where that's pretty much the case. We just need to start adding in some of these actual storage spots, and yeah, just slowly but surely build out a just build out the land a bit. Do a little 5x5 there and add some houses. Now, not every forest node has to have a hunter or a herbalist or anything, or an herbalist. I think you definitely do want to try to get at least a gatherer matched up with a forester. That's usually a good way to go. But honestly, hunting doesn't provide all that much food. It's more for the hides, and it's fairly easy to establish your hide production with a couple of hunters. You don't need to go overboard with those guys. So I would kind of like just relax a bit on the hunters and focus more on the gathering, because that's where you're getting most of your food. Now, between this node and that node, and having to walk all the way down here to get fuel, I'm thinking we ought to add at least another little woodcutter area, and it shouldn't cut into the efficiency of these too much. So I'm gonna put it just in between those two. Let's woodcutter. Here we go. And I'm going to give him a little stockpile for dropping his logs off, and as well as a house. So just a simple little thing to set up, and that way, you know, it saves walking. A lot of this game is about understanding how you can cut out superfluous walking. So, you know, just pay attention to those kind of things. And he should be able to supply both these guys, and also the fishing village thing. Well, it's not a village, but just a little fishing area. So it's just kind of a convenient thing to put in. And you know, honestly, you don't even need the central markets. It's just what you can always do is have like a node, and then at the outer edges you put in extra blacksmiths and well, one way you can do it, right? So say I start putting in like a mining area here. So I could put in a mine, have like a blacksmith, a tailor, and woodcutter servicing this forest node, and the two are pretty simpatico. They really help support the other, and between all those buildings, you shouldn't have any issues with getting your tools or your coats or anything of that nature. That's another possibility. And eventually, what you can do is just kind of daisy chain it. So you have like, you know, you go forest node surrounding a mine, like put 2 or 3 forest nodes around a mine, and then you go over to another area and do the same thing. And that's one way to build, and we might try to focus on doing that. I don't know, like there's just various ways to go about it. I definitely do want to try to like build this lake out a bit, just for the fishing. I think that'd be really that's gonna be that will probably be our best fishing spot on the whole map. So it's definitely worth getting down there, and it's also a convenient place, say for building a bridge between here and here. Just to get, there's an achievement for having a very long bridge, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And since we're going for every achievement, definitely something to just have rattling around as we go forward. Now, how are we doing? These need to get stone, it looks like. See, I'm wondering what exactly our laborers are so occupied with, because it's almost like they're idling. I might have to click and drag priority over to here. I don't know. Well, let's follow this one. It seems like he's going to the area to pick up all this stone. Yeah. I hope he is. We need the stone really badly. That's why I want all this cleared, by the way. I need the stone for the market. What is he doing? Okay, so he's going out here maybe to pick up that little bit. I'll tell you what. Let's put another stockpile just around here. A little 4x4. That'll speed things up a lot. So they're not doing this kind of walk of doom here. Yeah, see, he wasn't even able to walk all the way out there before he got hungry. So that's not good. We need some stockpiles out here. And honestly, we probably need a road of some kind too. So I'm going to stretch a road out this way. Just kind of out to there. And I'm going to throw in one more little stockpile, like, this seems pretty convenient. Doesn't have to be huge. Yeah, just something, you know, so they can avoid this. Yeah, that's why it's handy sometimes to watch your laborers. That's what's happening. They're going too far out in order to basically get too hungry and have to turn around and come back. And so that's slowing up. It's slowing up our building of these things, because we know that's stone, which is really bad because we're running out of tools and we're already out of clothes. So yeah, that's bad. I should have been watching that a bit closer. Yeah, you gotta be careful sometimes. Just kind of keep an eye on things and make sure that they aren't working in a suboptimal fashion. Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of like I mean, they're going out here. They're kind of like looking at the stuff, but they're not digging up in all that optimal of a way. Like, look how far this one is getting. They're going for the furthest ones first instead of the closer ones, and so they're just leaving stone lying around. That's frustrating. Well, yeah. See, even that seems like a short distance, but it's enough of a distance that it affects their ability to actually get out there and do the work they need to do. So maybe another road, maybe something going, say, down here and hugging the coast. Okay, so yeah, that'll work. Just to speed them up a little bit so they're not just getting out there and dropping stuff off and then deciding to turn around and come home. That's terrible. You want to avoid that at all costs. So, and another little stockpile might help too. And these things, you know, they're temporary. They're gonna get torn down, so it's not that big of a deal. Well, honestly, at this point, I might call it an episode and actually let it run for a bit without recording. Just to get us ahead, because there's gonna be some downtime here while we wait for all these structures that we've queued up to get built. And I don't know, it might be nice to come back and have that all built and be working on a new expansion, like getting the market that I want to built down here. So yeah, I think I'm going to call this an episode, and we'll come back and maybe have these buildings already built. So I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed playing some Banished. And yeah, feel free to, you know, if you have any ideas or suggestions or any particular strategies you want to see explored, yeah, post a comment, let me know. Anyways, this is Stuart. Have a good one.